You know, I don't like to fly, but I had to make it up here to San Francisco to check out and get some hands-on, some early impressions with Samsung's latest, their S22 line and their Tab S8 line. So I've played with the Plus, the Standard, the Ultras on both different devices. There's a lot to look forward to, but I'm gonna walk you through some early impressions and specs right now. Let's get into it. Hey, if any of these videos on the channel have helped you, please consider clicking all those little things down at the bottom so you'll be notified when we upload the latest videos and when we run our weekly contests. So there's a lot to cover here. Samsung invited us to get some hands-on time in a more personal space, with COVID shutting down the large post-Unpacked media hands-on event. It was here in this space in San Francisco, California, that I had a chance to check out all 6 devices that Samsung launched, although you can imagine that it was somewhat brief with that much to cover. And well, the wonderful Samsung reps wanted to go home eventually, so I couldn't stay and play all night. I've previously reviewed the Tab S7 Plus and Tab S7 FE and thoroughly enjoyed them both. Though the S7 FE felt a bit underpowered for DeX use at only 4 GB of memory. These may not be fan editions, but all 3 of this year's Tab S8 devices will come with a minimum of 8 GB of memory, with the Tab S8 Ultra offering 12 GB and 16 GB options. Storage begins at 128 GB across the board, with 256 GB options across the board, and then 512 as the max on the Ultra. I spent the most time with the Ultra because I was rather enamored with that 14.6-inch diagonal Super AMOLED display running at 120 Hz. The device will have a massive 11,200 milliamp hour battery with fast charging, which we will need for a battery that size. And it'll support Wi-Fi 6E, though I only see the 5G option for the S8 Plus. I'm hoping that a Ultra 5G option will drop later, but we'll see. I took some time to play around with the S8 Ultra's multitasking to see if it was up to the challenge, and as I expected, it was. I used multi-window and it moved like a champ. I had several windows open, moving them around the screen. You'll have no problems there. Firing up DeX next, the experience was still peppy. Again, several windows open, moving like a champ. And just like last year when I checked out the S7 Plus, Samsung has put out a device with an absolutely gorgeous display. Though with this one, you're going to get more resolution than with the vanilla S8, which only comes in at 1080p and is LED instead of AMOLED. And if you're going to use the Ultra as a laptop alternative, you're going to need the tools to get things done, right? So this year you'll be able to cop that keyboard cover, which also houses your S Pen. It's 2 separate pieces, with the bottom half attaching to your tablet via magnets and connecting via pogo pins, while the back half comes with a kickstand and attaches via magnets as well, with that S Pen silo that I mentioned. So from tablet land, it's looking pretty good, and frankly with DeX, Samsung gives you an experience which definitely helps pick up where Google's attentiveness to tablet-specific UI design is lacking. These ship with Android 12 BT dubs. You know what else ships with Android 12? The S22 Vanilla, Plus, and Ultra. And I think Samsung hit the nail on the head with 3 devices in 3 sizes, which are sure to appeal to a broad audience. From last year to this year, the design will be familiar in the Vanilla and Plus for those who had or have seen the S21 lineup. You'll get that beautiful camera module blended into the frame, into the sides of the phones. And if you look at last year's camera specs only for those megapixel numbers, shout out to some gadget guy, and compare to this year, you might say, Tshaka, we're getting less pickles. But that's only half the story. Some of this year's cameras have larger pixels with wider apertures, so they should be even better with less light than last year, netting you better images overall. But that's only half the story. By the numbers, the cameras on the rear this year are a 12 megapixel ultra wide, pretty much the same as last year, a 50 megapixel wide, and 10 megapixel telephoto with 3x optical and that 30x space zoom, both with those faster, larger pixel lenses I spoke of. There's a new auto framing feature that Samsung spoke about at their Unpacked event. I'll need some time with that to get a clear picture of what that's like in real world use. Bottom line with both of these units, they're beautiful. Come in a few colors and they are fast. And now the device which has probably received the most attention in the press, the S22 Ultra. Last year, we didn't get a new Note device, but all is made clear now. The Note 20 Ultra is the spirit animal of the S22 Ultra. Of course, you're going to get 2022 specs, but the body is very familiar until you get to those rear cameras. Gone is the large camera module of the Note 20 Ultra. It's been replaced with these 5 raised lens modules. I think you're definitely going to want to put a case on that with a bit of a lip to protect your glass, and Samsung has you covered with some pretty nice leather. I think they're vegan. So some pretty nice leather cases with precision cutouts and colors to match your device. The numbers on these cameras are 12 megapixels for the ultra wide, a whopping 108 megapixels for the wide with adaptive pixel, which includes Nona binning, which I'll get more into in a full review, and a left telephoto lens with 10 megapixels and a 10 optical zoom and 100x space zoom, then a telephoto on the right, which is a 10 megapixel with 3x optical zoom. That front shooter is a 40 megapixel affair, by the way. I was a fan of the Note 20 Ultra shape, and I'm a fan of this year's S22 Ultra. As you know by now, there won't be an Ultra like there was last year with the more rounded frame on top and bottom. Though the frame on the S22 Ultra is rounded on the screen edges left and right, you get those hard angles on top and bottom of the phone like the Note 20 Ultra. Samsung said they've improved the S Pen support even further, and look, the Note 20 Ultra was fast, and I'll need some high-speed camera work to test all that out, but the S22 almost feels like it's anticipating what I'm going to write. Maybe I've just been mesmerized by Samsung's marketing pitch, but it is something to behold. Rounding out the spec, you'll get a 5,000 milliamp hour battery that supports 45-watt charging. Overall, I do like the look of this year's NUltra. It looks sleeker than the Note 20 Ultra thanks to the decrease in camera module. I just wonder how it's going to be received by those of you who were clearly stans of the look of the S21 Ultra. You can let me know what you think in the comments below. So that's it from San Francisco. Stay tuned for our reviews coming up. We'll be bringing those to you and looking at each device and showing you what you can expect from Samsung this go around with their latest devices. A lot to look out for, a lot to look forward to. I'm Tshaka Armstrong for reviews.org. Don't take it lightly that you've watched this video here with us today. I'll check you out on the next one.